Good morning, everyone. We are here to get you ready for what's ahead in your day.
Yeah, from coast to coast, the Weather Channel, of course, has you covered.
Yeah, all right, a lot of skies like this out there with the changing clouds. Pensacola, Florida had some storms roll in. A lot of them stayed off the beach, though. We can see many came in from the ocean.
How about that? Would that prevent you from going to the beach, seeing weather like that?
I would just time it. I think I would look at the radar and I would try to time it.
Common sense.
Yeah.
I like it.
Lightning is the one thing that scares
Right.
me, you know.
You don't want to be out in lightning.
Yes. Well, I mean, we do still have some summer-like issues hanging on, despite the fact that meteorological fall has begun.
Yeah.
Yep, it has. And it's kind of a tale of two cities. That's a book.
I know, that's exactly. I mean, I feel kind of left out because there's been so many great shows.
I haven't seen any either, even the ones that have made it all the way south. No, I've missed all of them.
I've been shut out too.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, check out the best videos of the day when we reveal the Weather Gone Viral Top 5. That's coming up this afternoon. Yeah, I bet for a lot of folks along the Gulf Coast and Florida, even the East Coast, you know, you got to get through all of that threat.
You're like, I don't want to be thinking about losing electricity and dealing with a hurricane and like putting up my Halloween decorations.
Right,
it doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
You had a good comment this morning, too, with the jackets in your car.
Yeah. So what happens when it starts to get a little chilly? Every morning I walk out of my home in a jacket, and then I wear it into work, and then I get in my car in the afternoon when I'm leaving, and I'm like, it's hot, and then it stays in the back seat.
So you have a jacket graveyard in the back of your car.
That's how you know it's fall. There are 17 jackets in the back of my car.
Well, keep your comments coming. You can send them to us on social media. Share your pics and video with us using the hashtag YesTV. More though, unfortunately, the Gulf Coast and its neighbors get in on the tropical moisture for much of the rest of the week. Now, things start off sunny and hot here in New Orleans.
Yeah, but you know, storms filter into the Big Easy every day through the weekend. This is going to be one of those things where we're going to be dealing with it for a few more days at least.
I know, rain like this coming down. I'll tell you what. It's a wet forecast when you see how much rainfall could come down this week. A widespread area of 1 to 2 inches of rain hugs the Gulf Coast, but spots that get 5 to 8 or 3 to 5.
It's almost like we've seen this map before.
Like last week.
Right. And the same system, the pattern's kind of stuck in this part of the tropics-ish in the Gulf of Mexico. So right along the coast, heavy rain on the way.
We've had so much tropical moisture, but nothing organized in a tropical nature, which is key, right? I mean, certainly with so much moisture in place, we're glad not to see any tropical storms. But we still have issues and potential flash flooding because of all this tropical moisture.
Yeah, and I think your point is well taken because we could have had a tropical system develop. It's just the area wasn't, far enough offshore. It was too close to the coast and too far inland, but did bring the heavy rain inland as well.
Yes, all the way up to North Texas. We've got rain in Fort Worth this morning, rain in Dallas, but the heaviest rain is on the Fort Worth side of town, and some rain west of San Antonio and down towards Corpus Christi.
Yeah, and none of it moving real quick. So that's why these totals are going to be piling up over the coming days. That's unfortunate.
One thing I really noticed as well is that, everything's very lethargic out there on the radar. Nothing's really moving along. We've got some of the rain that's producing some big, heavy rainfall rates, creating some flash flooding risks like we see here in Dimmitt, Texas.
Yep, and this is something that we saw yesterday even in interior sections of South Texas. A lot of heavy rain. This is going to continue for a while. Rainfall rates will be pretty high as well. Very moist atmosphere in place.
And so that leads to that considerable flood threat. We also have a considerable flood threat in Uvalde County as well. You can see where we've got that rain not moving very much. And where you see the bright reds, that and oranges, that's the most concerning areas, but we've had some of that and it's still raining in that area.
Yeah, it is. And it's not just in Texas. There are other areas along the Gulf Coast with this humid air mass. Look at these dew points in the mid to high 70s. Yes, maybe that's not that unusual, but it is still a tropical feel to it and definitely allowing some of those rains to produce rainfall rates that are very high.
Yes. All right. So we've got to start right now with the showers. We've got more to come. And so through this week, this is through Friday, large area of 1 to 2 inches of rain. There'll be pockets of it in North Texas, but also widespread building through the south this week. The change is coming. Yeah, and not all this is terrible news. It's been very droughty across the southern tier, so perhaps that could help out a little bit, but we don't want too much all at once. Yeah, and the other thing the rain will do is help break the temperatures. So clouds will be moving in through the end of the week in Mississippi, Alabama, even South Georgia, and that's going to bring those cooler temperatures running below average actually through the second half of the week.
Yeah, and Felicia has more on the northeast rain on the other side of this front where it's also pretty chilly up in the northeast.
Yeah, as chilly that we're going to...
And according to a new study by global reinsurance firm Gallagher Ray, hail alone has caused the highest damages cost in the U.S. this year. So with the chance for more hail and severe storms this week, we're going to take a moment to talk a little bit about what is hail and why it can be so costly.
I mean, when you think about it, is basically a chunk of ice that is flying down from the sky. So it makes sense that it can do a lot of damage.
A lot of damage. It often covers large areas. Like a tornado is real small, but a hailstorm can cover much larger territory and impact a lot more people.
And I always think about the kind of winds involved with just the creation of hail. Normally, you've got some pretty intense thunderstorms, updrafts can exceed 100 miles per hour to really sustain the large kind of hail that we're talking about.
Yeah, you know, you have to have a really, really strong storm, a really strong updraft. The atmosphere has to be very buoyant to get hail that large because it has to stay in the air for quite some time.
Exactly. And so if that updraft is able to take over.
Right. It can only get so big.
What's the biggest hailstorm you've been in or hailstone that you've seen?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Not even an inch. You guys?
Yeah, no, I've never seen really large
Baseball-sized hail. Kansas. It was awful. It was so loud, and I saw the thing drop to the ground. I'm like, this is dangerous.
Yeah.
You don't want to get hit by it. I mean, forget everything else that can happen, but seriously, it can do a lot of damage, not just to roofs and cars, but to your head.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It could be deadly.
Yeah.
Could be deadly. And so this week we do have some storm chances. Hail actually isn't the biggest risk. Really, wind is probably a bigger risk out there today and tomorrow, but that's a chance there's some hail.
Yeah, this is one of those things where, you know, you're out driving and you can maybe hearing alert on your phone and then you're hearing the rain and then all of a sudden you're like, wait. What is that hail? And then you're like, oh, I need to find some shelter because you also don't want your car just out in the open. But how many times have we all been caught out in one of those storms that kind of catches you a little off guard, even as meteorologists, and all of a sudden you're hearing that hail.
We're kind of entering our second severe weather season, right? I mean, there's one in spring, but in the early fall and even into November, we could see severe weather. Hail's part of the equation.
Yeah, I mean, especially as I feel like into November, we always come out with another round of severe weather and hail likely again once you kind of get that change in the jet stream.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, today it's rain showers. A lot of them will probably not feature hail, but it's certainly a possibility, especially in what we call Hail Alley out here in the higher terrain, Wyoming, Colorado, the Front Range. I mean, you're already kind of high up in elevation anyway. So the air has a head start.
It does. The freezing level is close to the ground in these cases where the mountains are there. So you can get hail, no problem, out of like otherwise the storms that wouldn't do it.
Yeah, that's much different than, you don't see hail a lot in the more tropical areas like Florida. You're not getting this same type of hail. You're not getting the frequency of hail as you're getting out here with these storms. And yeah, we've seen so much hail already this year. I think anyone who's dealt with it is like, please, that's the last thing I want to hear.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's always very expensive here, especially, you know, when hail comes in, hits a lot of vehicles, hits a lot of homes. I mean, right away, you can get whole neighborhoods that are completely covered in this damage. We'll stay weather aware with the TWC.
There. The island of Bermuda takes a beating, though, from tropical storms.
Now, but this little island has a big reputation for standing strong through nature's fiercest storms. Here's a sneak peek of what's ahead tomorrow on America's Morning Headquarters. Good morning, everyone. We are here to get you ready for what's ahead in your day.
From coast to coast, the Weather Channel has you covered.
That's right. And for some of us, it is, you know, not just the rain that's been causing issues, but we've seen it, guys, some strong storms, the wind coming along with that as well. Just look at this. The last thing you want when you're out at the beach, bring the rain, not the wind, because it's like a microdermabrasion.
Oh, it is. It always is. And then trying to like wrestle with a beach umbrella when the wind starts picking up.
Flying umbrellas can be dangerous on the beach.
They actually really can. Yeah, they can be. We've seen some bad stories, but oh, look at that. All right, we're going to get you into today, though, and we got a lot going on.
We do. It's a tale of two seasons in today's big deal.
Well, hello, everyone. Just say good morning, but we're getting past that. Yeah. We are here to get you ready for what's ahead in your day.
And from coast to coast, the Weather Channel has you covered.
That's right. And, you know, for some of us, we have been seeing some rain, some sun, but not all of us get this beautiful view like in Algonquin, Maine, where just look at that. Does it get better?
How does that bird know to stand right there? Because it's right in the sun. I think feels the warmth.
Yeah, probably that bird has hundreds of years of evolution.
Right.
That's really cool. I mean, Maine, the water's very chilly. I'm not sure I would go swimming in it, but I would certainly like to be on the beach watching that sun.
Yes.
That bird was waiting for its photo op. That's what it was doing, which it got.
That's perfect. Algonquin means beautiful place by the sea. It is a beautiful place.
It is.
Yeah,
by the sea.
No, now elsewhere, we know that. And of course, it's a tale of two seasons.
Okay, well, that's cool.
Like a shrimp.
I will say sometimes, as we've learned today, it's hard to tell the difference between orange and red. So
that's true. It's a cross between us.
Yeah.
We'll check out the best videos of the day when we reveal the weather gone viral top 5 this afternoon.
Which, yeah, I could definitely see that.
She's both autumn and fall in that sentence.
I know. I was like, she's throwing in the little tricks to see if she can catch me up.
Right. All right, next viewer says, I'm in Florida. Fall begins when I can sit on my back patio and enjoy being outside without melting into a puddle of goo.
I think that largely also depends on where you are in Florida. Jacksonville, maybe by this weekend. West Palm, it's going to take a little while longer.
Yeah, I mean, probably into August.
Yeah.
We'll keep those comments coming. You can share them on social media. In May in Colorado, boy, remember watching that and thinking that's going to be $1 billion disaster.
Yeah.
Well, according to a new study by global reinsurance firm Gallagher Ray, hail alone has caused the highest damage cost in the U.S. this year. So with the chance for more hail and severe storms this week and in the coming months, we want to take a moment to talk a little bit about why and what is hail and why it can be so costly.
Of course, you know, Jen, I think you kind of hit on it earlier. It's because it can be so widespread. You and Dr. Postel both mentioned if you get a tornado, typically the tornado damage is kind of confined.
A couple of blocks.
Yeah,
maybe,
right.
You can get a whole community.
Right, with a hailstorm, and it's your cars, it's maybe your car window, maybe your home has some damage. So many different ways hail can bring widespread damage.
Yeah, you know, we're going to talk more about this. You can see how, in not just this year, but last year too, hail and severe storms bubbled up to the top. 19 events last year with severe weather for $1 billion disasters. You know, even tropical and flooding, you think of those as really expensive disasters. It doesn't compare to the hail.
Those get the attention, but the real numbers come out in the hailstorms.
Yeah, in terms of the expenses. So let's talk about hail. It takes quite a thunderstorm to produce some of the really big hail. Updrafts can exceed 100 miles per hour to create some of that largest, you know, talking about baseball, softball size hail.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have an updraft that is holding that ice up long enough for it to collect even more and grow and grow.
And then it comes down. And depending on how strong that updraft is, well, that can tell you how big the hail is going to be.
Yeah, you know, you might not think much about hail when you hear it, but it is, you know, one of the parameters for severe storms. A lot of people will see a lot of lightning and think, oh, this has to be a severe storm. But that's not one of our parameters. It's dangerous. But hail is a parameter because it can be so dangerous and can do so much damage.
Yep. Protect life and property. That's why these warnings are issued here. And hail is a danger to both, actually. You don't want to be hit by a hailstone. People can get quite injured. Now, we have some chance of hail today. There's a small area up here across the northern mountains here, the northern Rockies. We've got Montana, Wyoming. This is an area that's already up at elevation, so the air kind of gets a head start and rising to that freezing level.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, this is kind of the season where you could see severe weather in not just the Rockies, but in the plains too. Going through fall, we get another round of severe weather climatologically over the plains, where we think of spring maybe as being the severe weather season or the early winter in the south. It's also in the fall.
Yeah. Now, you know, we're not expecting a widespread big hail outbreak, but it's certainly possible you get some hail with some of these thunderstorms. And we do think there'll be some thunderstorms here. This is your forecast starting Wednesday morning, and we extended into Thursday. Here comes our front. This front, by the way, out ahead of it, you'll see these showers and storms. This is the big change maker for this week.
Whenever you see that, and I think that's why we do see the severe storms this time of year, it's a byproduct of the clashing air masses, and that is exactly what we're getting with this front that's going to be moving through.
Yeah.
That's why fall is the second severe weather season. You have the contrast in temperatures that you do in spring, but also in fall.
Yeah. Another big front. It'll bring a lot more than that potential for storms, though. It's going to bring some big temperature changes.
Yeah, maybe excited about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you can stay weather aware with the TWC streaming app.
Well, the island of Bermuda takes a beating from tropical storms.
Now, but this little island has a big reputation for standing strong through nature's fiercest storms. Here's a sneak peek of what's ahead tomorrow on America's Morning Headquarters.